In this video, we're going to talk about how to measure an AI. If you build an AI and it's making predictions, how can you tell how good it is? And particularly, if you try to improve it, how can you tell whether it's gotten better? Before we talk about how to measure an AI, let's revisit that there are many different types of AIs out there. This is important because they are actually measured differently. You may have heard about the 3 different types of AIs in some of the introductory videos. Those are supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Let's take an example of supervised learning, where you give the AI some examples with the label, and then the AI learns a pattern from those examples. Say I were to give an AI pictures of cats and dogs, and I said, this is a picture of a cat, this is a picture of a dog, etc. In the unsupervised case, you would give the AI lots of pictures of cats and lots of pictures of dogs, but provide no information about which one is a cat and which one is a dog. It might still be able to figure out that these are 2 different kinds of animals, and that dogs tend to look like each other in some ways, like the ears and snout, and the cats look like each other in different ways around the ears, etc. That would be an example of unsupervised learning. Reinforcement learning is where the AI tries different things and tries to remember what things work and what things did not work. A great example is having the AI play a game. To play a game, it might try out different game strategies and then remember the ones that resulted in winning a game and ones that resulted in losing a game. Over time, it will get smarter about playing the game. You can see that there are many different types of AIs, and because they behave differently, you have to measure how well they're doing also differently. Within each of these types of AIs, there are also different subtypes. We are going to focus today on supervised learning and 2 important subtypes of it called regression and classification. In regression, you're trying to predict the number like, what is the temperature going to be tomorrow? In classification, you're trying to predict a category like, is this a cat or a dog? How do we measure how good an AI is doing? And by that we mean how good is the model that it created is doing. Remember that during training, a model is created, and that model is essentially the brain. The way we measure how well an AI has done is by quizzing it. But what do we quiz the AI on? In order to evaluate the quiz, we need to know the key or the answers to the quiz. How do we do this? A really good common practice is to take 80% of the examples from the dataset and give those to the AI to learn, and keep 20% hidden away for a test. That 20% is called the validation dataset, or sometimes called the test data. It does not have to be 80% and 20%, it could be 70% or 30%, etc. also. For example, in this case, say that the part highlighted in red is the hidden away validation set. We know that if we give the AI 15, 13, and 5, it should say adult if it has learned properly. So we can give the AI a test based on this validation dataset, and we can score the test because we already have the right answer. The basic idea here is you give the AI a bunch of data, say a 100 examples. It will learn from 80 of them, but we'll keep 20 of them away for testing. Once the AI has learned and created a model, then the model will take a test, much like you might take a test in school. It will be given the questions and it will come up with an answer, and that answer will be compared to the right answer. This will generate a score that basically defines how well it did. So a good AI that has learned well will get a high score. Thank you.